are going to be the number one players at their positions here in Week 6, and we will start with the QB1, Marcus Grant.
I'm going to go with Joe Burrow, who apparently was tired of the Macaulay Culkin comparison, so decided to go with the Devin Sawa in the stand video look instead. Over the last 4 weeks, though, Burrow has been fantastic. 301 passing yards per game, 12 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. This has been a high-volume passing attack for the Bengals, throwing it 62% of the time. Now, here's the thing. The Giants have been very good at getting pressure. They've got a league-high 22 sacks, but Burrow has been great under pressure. 17 of 28, 256 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So if you let him stand back there, he's going to pick you apart. But if you come after him, it looks like he's picking teams apart as well. I expect all his pass catchers to get involved. I think a big week is coming again for Joe Burrow.
You know, I don't want to be the person that just goes super chalky, but not enough to keep me from doing it, because Lamar Jackson is going to be the QB1 this week, mostly because he's an excellent player. But he's also going up against the Washington Commanders, which has had a real inability to stop opposing quarterbacks. As a matter of fact, the Commanders have allowed 11 touchdown passes this season. That's tied for the most in the NFL. And they back it up by not turning the ball over. They've not had an interception this season. So I expect this to be a high-scoring affair, especially on the side of the Ravens. So I'm going all in on Lamar Jackson.
All right, let's go to the RB1 of Week 6, and I believe it's an opportunity for Jordan Mason at a bounce-back game for the San Francisco 49ers. He's got more carries than anyone in the league right now. We just saw the Seahawks give up 129 yards on the ground to Tyrone Tracy last week. I think he is your RB1. Who do you think, Marcus?
I think it's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs as the RB1 this week. And, this could be maybe alternate. You could put him there. You could put David Montgomery there. I think if they formed like Voltron, I think they run away with this title this week. But going up against a Dallas defense that is the 7th worst against running backs so far this season. Meanwhile, the Lions are running the ball more often than you think. 8th highest run play percentage of any team in the league. Now, Gibbs Montgomery, kind of a 50-50 split. I think it's going to be Gibbs maybe that gets the touchdown, maybe a couple more receptions, but I think either of those guys are going to be excellent starts against the Cowboys this week.
Speaking of receptions, let's get a wideout, right?
I was thinking about Zay Flowers, but I couldn't give Jamie Erdahl the satisfaction. So I'm going to go with Jamar Chase instead. And last week, we saw this out of the Cincinnati Bengals offense, is that all the targets are funneled into 2 players, which is why I favored Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I got a lot of questions last week for people asking me, like, can I, not so much Jamar Chase, but T. Higgins, like, do I start? I'm like, yeah, you start him. Like, I don't care what the matchup is. And the Giants have actually been somewhat decent against opposing wide receivers, although they have allowed a top 2 fantasy receiver in 2 out of the last 3 weeks. But the way they're funneling targets in Cincinnati, I'm going to go with Jamar Chase, and obviously I'm going to start T. Higgins as well.
Yeah, 2 very good pieces of an offense that looks like they're going to need to score a lot, and that might be the case for the Dallas Cowboys coming up against the Detroit Lions. I think CeeDee Lamb will be your wide receiver 1. The last time he faced the Lions, remember that game? A lot of folks remember declaring eligible. What about CeeDee Lamb going for 13 catches and over 200 yards against the Lions? That, yes, their defense is better. Carlton Davis comes over, who's given CD problems in the past, but I think that was a lot of Todd Bowles and the Bucs defense. A lot of man. I'm confident with CeeDee Lamb against man coverage. Not 45 points again, but I think 28 is going to be enough. Let's get some tight ends, though, Marcus.
How about we go with Trey McBride down there in Arizona? Still the number 2 target in this offense. I mean, this is a guy who's missed time and is second on the team in targets. Last week, pretty good game against the 49ers, 6 catches for 53 yards. A good thing about him is that the air yards are up, averaging 7.6 air yards per target this year compared to just an even 6 last year. Going against a Packer team whose linebackers have not been great in coverage. We've seen a lot of it where he's sort of setting up to block and kind of leaks out. It's been a nice target in the middle of the field for Kyler Murray. And I think with so much attention being paid to guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., like Michael Wilson, that's going to open up some opportunities for McBride.
I'm going to go with Sam Laporta for a lot of the reasons Patrick was talking about a moment ago. That matchup against the Lions and the Cowboys is going to be very high scoring on both sides. So you want as many pieces of this as possible. Last week, the Cowboys allowed 2 touchdown receptions to tight ends. And I really do believe that Laporta's got to get it going. They got to get him into the mix. I think this is going to be a breakout game for him.
Yeah, it's going to change because a lot of the perceptions of the tight end spot, a lot of people invested in Laporta have not gotten returns.
Not gotten it.
On that investment. We'll see as we continue the season, as we continue this edition of NFL Fantasy Live. More to come.